Deep within the Blackwood Forest, where sunlight barely touched the ground, stood a lonely cottage hidden beneath ancient trees. The villagers believed an immortal witch had lived there for centuries. No one dared to enter the forest after sunset, because they feared they would never return. Yet inside the mysterious cottage, the witch lived quietly, surrounded by books, herbs, and ancient magic older than any kingdom. Every morning, life continued peacefully in the nearby village. Children laughed, merchants opened their stalls, and farmers worked their fields. But whenever someone looked toward the dark forest, their smiles disappeared. They whispered old stories about the witch who never aged. Among them was a curious young girl named Liora, who wondered if the frightening stories were actually true. As the sun disappeared behind the mountains, Liora secretly left the village carrying only a small lantern. The deeper she walked into the forest, the quieter everything became. Strange glowing mushrooms lit the path beneath her feet. Somewhere in the darkness, glowing eyes watched every step she took. Fear filled her heart, but she refused to turn back. After hours of walking, an old wooden cottage slowly appeared through the thick mist. Before Liora could knock, the heavy door creaked open by itself. A warm golden light spilled into the cold forest. Standing inside was the mysterious witch, calmly waiting as though she had known Liora would arrive that very night. Instead of anger, the witch welcomed the frightened girl with a gentle smile and a warm cup of herbal tea. Rain tapped softly against the windows while silence filled the tiny cottage. Liora slowly realized the woman before her looked nothing like the terrifying monster described by the villagers. She seemed wise, lonely, and strangely kind. The witch invited Liora to look around her home. Hundreds of ancient portraits covered every wall. Kings, queens, warriors, and travelers stood beside the same woman in every painting. As Liora looked closer, her heart nearly stopped. The witch had the exact same face in portraits painted hundreds of years apart. The witch opened an old leather journal filled with forgotten history. Magical visions floated through the air, revealing kingdoms that had risen and fallen over countless generations. She quietly explained that while people believed she was cursed, she had actually made a promise long ago, a promise to protect Blackwood Forest until the end of her life. Beneath the forest stood an ancient magical tree whose glowing roots spread beneath the entire kingdom. As long as the tree lived, peace remained across the land. But if its light ever faded, darkness would consume everything. The witch had guarded the tree alone for hundreds of years, waiting for the day someone worthy would continue her duty. Suddenly, the magical tree began losing its golden light. A cold wind swept through the forest as black smoke rose between the trees. Birds fled into the sky while every living creature ran in fear. For the first time in centuries, worry appeared on the witch's face. Something ancient had awakened. Together, Liora and the witch rushed deep into the dying forest. Trees blackened before their eyes as dark magic spread across the land. Then, through the mist, a massive shadow slowly appeared. Towering over the forest, the creature watched them with glowing crimson eyes filled with hatred. The shadow monster stepped forward, shaking the earth beneath its feet. The witch raised her ancient staff, surrounding herself with emerald magic. Although terrified, Liora stood beside her instead of running away. She knew this battle would decide the fate of everything she loved. Powerful magic collided beneath the ancient trees. Green light clashed against swirling darkness while the forest trembled around them. During the chaos, Liora noticed a glowing crystal hidden beneath the roots of the magical tree. Somehow, she knew it was the key to ending the nightmare. The moment Liora touched the crystal, time seemed to stop. She was pulled into an ancient memory where she saw the witch as a young guardian making a sacred promise to protect the forest forever. She also discovered the horrifying truth. The shadow monster had once been the forest's first guardian before forbidden magic consumed his soul. The vision disappeared, leaving Liora with tears in her eyes. The witch struggled to hold back the monster while darkness continued spreading through the forest. Without speaking, she looked toward Liora and gently pointed to the glowing crystal. The girl finally understood what she had to do. Holding the crystal with both hands, Liora released its hidden power. Brilliant golden light flowed through every root beneath the forest. The magical tree awakened once more, and the shadow monster slowly shattered into thousands of glowing fragments. Peace began returning to Blackwood Forest. As the forest healed, the witch quietly smiled. Her body slowly dissolved into countless glowing green leaves carried away by the wind. She had fulfilled the promise she had made centuries ago. Through her tears, Liora reached out, but there was nothing left to hold except light. Morning sunlight finally reached the forest again. Birds returned, flowers bloomed, and clear streams flowed through the ancient woods. Standing alone beneath the magical tree, Liora picked up the witch's wooden staff. She silently accepted the responsibility of becoming the forest's new guardian. When Liora returned home, the villagers noticed the dark clouds had completely vanished. Life slowly returned to normal, though no one knew what had truly happened inside Blackwood Forest. Before leaving, Liora carefully hid the glowing crystal beneath the roots of a young oak tree, waiting for the day it would be needed again. Many years later, children once again gathered near the edge of Blackwood Forest to hear old legends. A little boy asked Liora whether the story of the immortal witch had ever been real. She simply smiled without answering. At that very moment, deep within the mist, the gentle spirit of the ancient witch appeared for just a second before disappearing among thousands of glowing lights. And from that day on, people believed that as long as the forest still whispered in the wind, its guardian had never truly left.